At the start of the year, we made some predictions. What happened in the year in rugby in 2025? I predicted that Stuart Hogg would blame it on pronouns.
Yeah.
Instead, he just blamed it all still on his kids.
I thought that Joe Marler would go on I'm a Celebrity. He went on Celebrity Traitors instead.
Yeah, really close. And I predicted that we would get to the end of the year, we'd get to Christmas, and there would still be no dates or information on the Nations League Championship thing that is due to start next year. And you know what? I was 5 weeks off.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this over the weekend.
Me too.
We're getting dangerously close, but they've come in clutch and last minute put them up.
Right at the end of November, we're 4 or 5 weeks away from this prediction having been right, and yet we now have details on the Nations Championship. It will begin next year in July. It will take place every other year in years where the Lions are not playing or the men's Lions are not playing, or there is no World Cup. So 2026, 2028 will be the first two. The first final is going to be held in Twickenham.
I've heard of that.
The town Allianz and the Twickenham Stadium there. And it will begin next year, right? It is being billed as a battle of the hemispheres. Something that feels very outdated to me.
I don't get this. So, as people who live in the Northern Hemisphere of the world, living in England, as Welsh fans, so we get two sides of this. I have never experienced a rugby fan from around here who has billed this North versus South Hemisphere thing before. I've seen a lot on, not a lot, but I've seen a bit on online on Twitter and social media, people talking about this. And I've seen in the current Autumn Nations series, I saw somebody saying something about who's going to win the North versus South battle this weekend of who's going to win more games, North or South. And it's just nobody views it like that. Nobody does
cares.
That. No Welsh or Scottish fans are going to be looking at an England game against the All Blacks and going, hoping to get the job done for us. So.
And there's always been this perception, I think, from a lot of kind of Southern Hemisphere fans that they're a united front in Europe. And it's very much not the case. We hate each other more than we hate local.
Our rivals are each other.
Exactly.
The Six Nations is the big rivalry where you really want to get one over, kind of your neighbour, I guess.
Yeah. And so that's always been the case. And I think there's a little more of that kind of unity in the late noughties when the best three teams in the world were New Zealand, South Africa, and
Look
Australia.
how much everyone hated each other during the Lions tour.
Yeah.
And everyone was hating each other's players, even though they were all playing on the same team, rather than just supporting them.
So it always feels like an outdated concept to have this North versus South thing. However, it is leaning itself into a concept. So there are going to be two divisions. There is going to be the Nations Championship and the Nations Cup, right?
Before we get into this, I just want to quickly preface this by saying I've not really looked at this yet, so you're going to get my proper reaction to this.
Yep.
This has just been announced in the last hour or two.
Yep.
I've seen that it's happened, but I've not looked at the details. So you're going to tell me those.
So I want to take a guess. Which one do you think is the higher division, the Nations Cup or the Nations Championship?
I reckon the Nations Championship's the higher division.
Would you assume that if you didn't know already?
No, it was a guess.
Yeah. So the Nation Championship is the higher division.
Okay.
That will include, now, their initial press release, and they had to edit it already. It's already been a bit of a bad rollout. Said it was the top 12 teams in the world. It's not. It's 12 of the top 13 because Georgia are not in it. And Georgia are currently ranked 11th.
Right.
Wales and Japan are both below them. Wales and Japan are included.
So they've given Wales a leg up, and Japan. They've given them both a leg up because traditionally they're better than Georgia.
It's the Six Nations teams. It's the Rugby Championship teams with Japan and Fiji.
Can I ask a question on this?
Yeah.
Are those teams fixed for every year?
They're fixed for at least the first two.
Okay. Right.
And then there is no details on whether we're going to look at promotion relegation beyond that.
Okay, so the biggest kind of bearing we've got to go off here is WXV. So instead of women's autumn internationals, they have a competition called WXV in non-World Cup years, where they ban them into WXV 1, 2 and 3, and the best 6 teams, I want to say, go to WXV 1, and then the next best 6 into 2, then the next best 6 into 3, essentially. And they do that based on the seeding of how each team finished in the Pac 4 and the Six Nations and other tournaments going on around that. So with that in mind, they've changed that every year. So there's been different oppositions going in. And every year it's been completely different. And it guarantees teams' fixtures. So I've been in favour of WXV because it means that you get to see Samoa and Fiji play, for instance.
It had to happen because their unions weren't arranging enough games, right? And they weren't getting those opportunities. And it was really difficult for a lot of these teams to arrange women's fixtures if you weren't one of the Six Nations teams or New Zealand or Australia. Even South Africa struggled for a long time. And it gave an opportunity for a lot of the African teams, a lot of the Pacific teams, a lot of the European teams outside the Six Nations countries.
Yeah. Even some of them in the Six Nations.
You know, yeah. But, you know, Spain and so on. Yeah, and you mentioned, like, you know, Wales, Scotland, Ireland weren't organising autumn internationals until a few years ago.
Yeah.
Like,
Italy struggled to get a lot of fixtures sometimes, you know.
So it's been really positive in that front. That is not a major issue, especially not for Tier 1 teams and Fiji and Japan. Japan are Tier 1. And the 11 Tier 1 nations in Fiji, that is not a problem. They're getting fixtures. Now, Fiji getting home games is different. And that is one front I think I really like this, because Fiji are going to have home games, and they may yet choose to play some of them in New Zealand, we'll see. But they're going to get home games against Tier 1 nations, which is brilliant.
That's amazing.
I'm massively in favour of that. That's the one huge positive I'm seeing out of this. However, for at least the first few years, these will be fixed as the Six Nations and the Rugby Championship teams.
Okay.
And then they will add on top of it.
What have Wales done to deserve to be there?
Yeah. I mean, that's the question. Georgia are ranked above Wales.
Georgia are a better team than Wales.
And Japan. Yeah. And they're not.
And if Georgia can't be in the Six Nations, then surely, like, this is the salt in the wound. They can be in this instead, surely.
They are open to introducing promotion relegation in 5-6 years' time, but that is not currently on the table, at least until after the. Realistically, they're looking at after the 2031 World Cup, but is.
I'd hate to be in a team called Richard
time.
Cockerell right now. I'll say that much.
I mean, I would generally. The Nations Cup, on the other hand, right, will include 12 teams, likewise. They will be, so the 11 teams that qualify for the World Cup that aren't in there. So Canada, Chile, Georgia, Hong Kong, China, Portugal, Romania, Spain, Tonga, Uruguay, USA, Zimbabwe, and then the winner of Samoa versus Belgium tomorrow, which, very exciting game, World Cup qualifier. Final World Cup spot is open.
Yeah, we're going to cover that in some way.
We're going to try and cover that. That is tomorrow. That is Tuesday, the 18th of November.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, as this is going out. The winner of that game will also qualify for the tournament. So, this leaves a situation where essentially international rugby is segregated and is broken up in that way. I will get into the specifics of the Nation Championship in a minute, but I think this is the huge downside, right? Is the teams that don't need a leg up are the teams that they're essentially cutting themselves off and not playing.
Yeah.
The teams lower down.
Yeah. In terms of the positive for this, first and foremost, same as what we're saying about WXV, somebody like, the thing is, so is there a third tier below this?
There are no details at this time.
Right.
Doesn't look like it, but.
Okay, the thing is, I was about to say a positive, then I realised, tripping over my words, Namibia aren't in this.
No, they're not.
So Namibia, I mean Chile, let's use them as the examples, the guinea pigs for this instead. So Chile, in the last World Cup, Pablo Lemoine came out after their game against England and he was fuming because he had not had an opportunity to prepare his team to survive a game like that.
They'd played Scotland A, and that was it.
Not even win the game, to just survive, to be able to physically compete against Premiership level athletes. And for Chile, that is great that they're going to get some fixtures, that they're guaranteed some fixtures where they can get a level playing field. Now, they don't get anything against Tier 1 oppositions, against teams like England.
So there is one summer window every 4 years during a Lions tour.
Every 4 years?
So every 4 years, there will be a window for one team to choose if they want to go and play Uruguay and Chile, for example, and then maybe Paraguay or Brazil as well, alongside. That is only open every 4 years. That is the way World Rugby has spun it so far.
That doesn't guarantee they're going to do that.
No.
They might want to play somebody of their own level.
Imagine you pick up interesting key positions, right? And you have Torrey Alba and Fernandez as their halfbacks, both happen to miss that tournament. Then neither of them have played because their only window to play Tier 1 nations was closed and they didn't get in and they didn't get a chance to play those games before the World Cup. Don't know. Anyway, I think that is a huge problem and it is going to close the World Cup off an awful lot.
Yeah.
And what we wanted and what we were beginning to see, and South America Rugby have done an unbelievable job of helping raise the level of those teams below Argentina. And they brought a lot of Argentine coaches in, and they've brought a lot of people over, obviously led by Daniel Hicarte, the former Argentina head coach, who led this kind of initiative to try and raise the level of every other nation. And they did it one by one. They looked at Uruguay, then they looked at Chile, and then they've been looking at Paraguay and Brazil over the last couple of years. And that has been really working, and they're getting better and better and better, and they'll be better and better at each World Cup. And yet now, those teams are being locked out, and the level is being capped at Georgia, right? There is no option available right now for a team to improve in the way Japan and Argentina and Italy have in the last 20 years.
Yeah, and what I was about to say about Namibia was So, like, we're both big fans of Namibia rugby. They're kind of
absolutely.
the sweethearts of the World Cup for us. And I'm really, genuinely really sad that they've not qualified for this World Cup, because I will really miss them, because they're such a fun team to watch and have so many great players. But one of the things when they first announced this Nations League was, I thought, okay, the good thing is that someone like Namibia can be guaranteed games.
Yeah.
Because in between the 2019 and 2023 World Cup, they played less than 10 matches.
Between that year, they played like
They
12
would
games.
more or less go full years without really playing test
or maybe
rugby.
2 games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's not good enough. Like,
Bit of that
how are
was
you
COVID,
meant
admittedly,
to...
it's worth
yes,
admitting,
that is true. But how are you meant to compete in a World Cup at that point? And again, nobody was going to the World Cup expecting Namibia to win it, and that's fine. But again, you want them to compete, you want them to improve, you want them to get better, and you want them to play test match rugby. And this World League would mean that they had an opportunity to play those games. They've not got in, they've been frozen out.
Yeah, so it's great for Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe will get more exposure to this competition.
Yeah, brilliant for Zimbabwe. Love that.
However, it just feels like, and I've really felt this happening over the last few years, and it's really made me lose a lot of hope, that I felt like when, I started doing this channel, and I felt like it was a really exciting time, because you had the tier 2 nations were starting to improve and starting to grow and starting to become like really exciting forces. And I was like, brilliant, like in 20 years' time, we could be looking at a World Cup that's much more similar to football's. We have more great nations, we have more upsets being caused, we have a more level playing field, and it feels like very much World Rugby has gone, no, we can make more money off these top 12 nations if they play each other every year, if we set this fixture in this way, and, literally the press release says they expect it to be worth tens of thousands more pounds more, for those big nations, right?
Okay, yeah.
And it has therefore cut off rugby to the wider world. And I know the majority of people watching this probably care about, those top 12 nations in the world, right? But there are generations who won't see this video, won't see those channels, and won't watch these games because their nation never gets a chance to properly compete at a World Cup. You look at the way Portugal was growing, and now they're, obviously their administration and everything has not been going great. The team's dropped off an awful lot. A lot of that comes back to behind the scenes problems that very much mirror what happened in 2007. However, they have regardless qualified for another World Cup in 2027.
Yeah.
And yet, they're not going to be given a chance to step up and become potentially them, Georgia, Spain, to push towards being a Six Nations team because they won't get those fixtures. And I was always like very much of the opinion, right? And, I had some people that were very outspoken tier 2 fans, very much of the opinion when I was saying no, you can't welcome Georgia to the Six Nations because they haven't beaten tier 1 teams, right? They've now beaten Wales, they've now beaten Italy, and I think once you've beaten those Six Nations teams, that's how you earn a spot, right?
Yeah.
That was always my take.
Again,
it was always
if they can't be in the Six Nations, they deserve to be in the Nations Championship more than Wales do.
Yeah.
And that's not really a conversation. They're a better team.
Yeah. At the moment, world ranking certainly backs it
And
up.
I just feel like it's based on the fact that Wales have been good historically, rather than Wales being any good now.
This closes off the chance for those games to happen.
Yeah.
And it's closed off the chance for that to grow outside of World Cups.
Big time.
So you come to a World Cup and you've never been exposed to this level of rugby before, other than a handful of players like Davin Iniashvili who play, top end, top 14. And it just becomes a problem. We're going in a very circular end of this conversation, right? We should maybe put a pin in the tier 2 bit for now.
Yeah, because I was going to say, one thing that is great at the moment is, again, we're in the middle of the Autumn Nations series as we record this, that Tier 1 international rugby is in such a healthy place right now that everybody is really putting up a fight against each other. There's so many games going on that are really hard to call. At the weekend we've just had England and New Zealand. We had Italy putting up a fight against South Africa. We had the Argentina-Scotland game, which was really topsy-turvy. International Tier 1 men's rugby is in such a good place right now. And so having this, again, if I'm to put my positive hat on, it's great that there's going to be a load of fixtures where these guys get to go up against each other. However, at the same time, I can't help but wonder if that's a bit of an admission of defeat, of just, this is as good as it's ever going to get.
Yeah.
We can't welcome more teams into here to make this better. Because Georgia have the potential to be a tier 1 level nation in terms of quality of style of play, that they can compete
and
with
investment
these.
and passion and everything.
Yeah.
And they've got money behind them, which a lot of these
Their
teams don't do.
ceiling is competing with these big teams.
Spain, likewise. Spain's ceiling is so high.
Yeah.
And they're not investing in it. Portugal again.
Uruguay.
This is not mentioned in the press release for the Champions, Rugby Nation Championship, but the Nations Cup press release does mention in passing the Nations Cup will win 2026, 28 with integrated fixtures between divisions in 27 and 29.
Okay.
So 29, that makes sense. Let's say, well, Lions Tour is away. You can go and play, I don't know, a Scotland can come and tour Chile. Wales can go and tour, the South Sea Islands. They can play Tonga and Samoa. England can go and tour Argentina again because that's what they always do.
Mark Dodson can organise his tour of Papua New Guinea.
Yeah. And maybe we get, like New Zealand go and tour all of the other European teams that they've never played before.
Sure.
Go and tour Georgia and Romania.
Spain.
And go back to Romania, like rematch that 80s game where 100,000 people attended. Like the fifth most attended rugby match of all time.
Yeah. Romania can beat the All Blacks again.
Yeah. Maybe South Africa could play Namibia and Zimbabwe and so on. That'd be great if that is what happens. Yeah. Now, integrated fixtures between these divisions, that is very woolly worded. It's not mentioned in the Nations Championship one, so clearly I don't know how big a priority this is for World Rugby. Whatever. Anyway, to focus on the Nations Championship, right? So, Japan and Fiji are both in as invitational teams. Right. And so their places can be changed down the line.
Okay.
However, the format is, right, we will have 2 blocks of fixtures, one in July, one in November.
Okay.
In July, the Northern Hemisphere teams will tour the Southern Hemisphere teams. You will play 3 different teams in different weeks, right? So on one level, right, I quite like that it will mean that you play a different opponent in every week, right?
Sure.
So as Welsh fans, we played Japan 3 times this year. New Zealand played England 3 times last year. That won't happen anymore, other than the fact that New Zealand and South Africa are going to play each other 26 times every single year now.
Yeah.
But instead, you will play every team. You'll play all 12 Tier 1 nations, well, the 12 Tier 1 nations and Fiji. And then that'll be it. That'll be a fixture list. Your fixture list will be the same every year.
I don't like that.
You play different combinations of home and away, but you will play the same teams, and it becomes like a league fixture.
I like the novelty of playing different teams every year. It keeps the calendar a bit fresher, I think.
Yeah. I like the fact that we're like, we're not playing Australia this year. Yeah. We're playing, Tonga instead of playing, Georgia or whoever.
Let's say you support Bath in the Premiership. Yeah. In the Prem, you're playing the same teams every year, aside from
promotion relegation.
If there was promotion relegation in the Prem, which at the moment there's not, but you know what I mean. However, when you play in Europe, depending on which Europe you get into, the quality of opposition is different you play against, and also the pool draw is different every single year.
It's exciting.
So you could get drawn with Toulouse, you could get drawn with, Stad one year.
There's
you
a reason
get drawn
we
with
love
Zebra.
the pool draw, right?
Yeah.
Like you look forward to it as a fan of a club because you go like, what away trip are we going to get? Who are we going to welcome in? I think it's really exciting, like the thought of playing Toulouse or someone, as you say, where you get Dupont comes and visits your ground.
Yeah.
Like you look at the extra fans who really went in on Dupont a few months ago.
Yeah,
like,
Was it Saracens who literally sent out that press release as like Dupont's coming to the stadium?
Yeah.
And that was the email they sent out to the fans. Like you get moments like that, and this isn't about Dupont. This is just about like the variety and the excitement of different teams.
The Six Nations is essentially the league in this analog.
Yes. Yeah. Or the Rugby Championship.
Yeah, this is Europe, and now it's going to be the same fixtures every single year, like the Ospreys draw Montpellier every year. So, some of these make sense. So France, for example, their tour in July will be New Zealand to Australia to Japan, right? Those are all, 4 or 5 hour journeys. That's all doable. Like, that's one, clean line. You can see how that works.
Yeah.
As an example, it's not as neat as touring, the country in the UK where you can get to them in an hour.
Yeah, on the bus.
Or even like France, where you can go on the Eurostar.
Yeah.
And then Italy you can get to easily on a flight and so on. But still, by Southern Hemisphere standards, that is about as logical as it can get.
Yeah, that's fair.
Wales, on the other hand, and England likewise, are both doing the same fixtures next year. Mm-hmm. Wales' order, they play Fiji away.
Okay, that's great.
That's great.
Playing in
honestly,
Fiji.
that is fantastic.
I've never, as a fan, I don't think I've ever seen Wales play in Fiji.
No.
So that is brilliant.
So Fiji are playing home games against Wales, England and Scotland.
That's amazing.
That's brilliant.
That's so
brilliant.
Good. I love that.
Only Scotland have been down there in the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah. How many Fijian fans who can't travel that far will get to watch these games for the first time, watch their men play at home? That's brilliant. That will really help grow the game as well.
And I really hope they play them in Fiji. They don't move them to New Zealand or Australia.
Yeah, I agree.
As happened in the past.
I agree.
Wales were due to tour Samoa a few years back, and that ended up being played in Eden Park.
Yeah, of course.
So that was a stadium issue. It was Tonga. Yeah, it was a stadium issue, and they ended up playing there.
Samoa and Tonga both. Played.
Yeah, but in New Zealand. That's great. So Wales playing Fiji at home. They're then travelling to play Argentina, which is a bit of a journey.
Yeah, is that the next week?
That is the next week. That is 7 days later.
So Saturday. That's a bit of a stretch environmentally.
Yes.
And also, the old jet lag will surely come into play there as well.
So the flight time from Fiji to Argentina is 22 to 29 hours.
Bloody hell.
So that's you've got a 7 day turnaround
of your week.
Yeah. 1 week of that is spent on planes. Like, that is not leading to best quality rugby. If you are, like, England and Wales are both doing that journey. Are Scotland as well? No, Scotland going
That's
via South Africa.
environmentally horrid as well. So doing a flight like that as regulation.
Yeah.
And multiple teams are doing that.
Yeah. So England, Wales and Scotland are all playing the same fixtures. They're all playing the same free. England and Wales are both flying from Fiji to Argentina, which is potentially like a 26-hour journey.
This also goes against, like, the Rugby Championship, to their credit, have done this thing where they've said that you're going to tour and play a test series away at whoever it is you're playing on the double that year. So let's say New Zealand goes to South Africa one year, then the next and plays 2 fixtures there. Then the next year South Africa comes to New Zealand and plays 2 fixtures there. And the good thing about summer tours and having that is that you stay in a local area. You travel around the country, of course, and play your fixtures in different locations potentially. But yeah, you get 2 different opportunities to go at the same opposition, and yeah, environmentally it makes a lot more sense. And again, like Autumn Nations fixtures, they're not travelling far. Europe's not that big that they can the Southern Hemisphere teams can travel an hour's flight maybe, or maybe 2-3 hours flight between oppositions.
In 2022, World Rugby put out this press release. Environmental Sustainability Plan 2030, right? World Rugby's Environmental Sustainability Plan 2030 is both a statement of intent and a tangible roadmap for tackling healthier environmental issues, setting out what we believe rugby can and should be doing to contribute to a healthier, more sustainable society. Sir Bill Beaumont's quoted as saying, like, environment values on here.
Bill. Yeah, those values.
Basically, right, this is stating that by 2030, rugby will be considerably more environmentally friendly, and they'll be doing much more in terms of fewer flights over, fewer long flights like this. They've got a whole sustainability plan. Frankly, I haven't read through that whole plan this morning, but I'll be very, very surprised.
29-hour flight.
Yep. If, 4 years before this, they haven't gone straight on the face of it. They've just given it all up because, as they say, it's worth tens of thousands more pounds for each individual union.
Yeah. Do you think there are any fans who will travel to Fiji and then go to Argentina the next week as well? That's the question.
Yeah. You can't. You can't.
Not that that's what's important, obviously.
Yeah.
It is a little bit, obviously, having that. But yeah, I don't know. That's kind of discounts that.
Don't know. Anyway, we don't need to go too far into that, but like, that's a.
I think we've made our opinions quite clear on that.
Yes. So they'll tour, right? So England, Wales, and Fiji are playing the same fixtures, the same teams.
Yeah. Where did they go after Argentina? Sorry.
Oh, Wales then go to South Africa.
Right. Okay.
Which will be great fun.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that one already. Likewise, England play the same fixtures in a different order. Scotland play the same fixtures in a different order.
Okay, yeah.
Ireland, Italy, and France play the same fixtures in different orders as well. So they will play Australia, New Zealand, Japan away.
Okay.
Which again is a doable journey. Those are those make more sense. There will be points calculated over this tour for, like, I'm assuming win, loss, bonus points, etc.
Yeah.
On a league table. They will then resume this in November when we get to the Northern Hemisphere series. Right? So you will then play at home, if you're the Northern Hemisphere teams, you will welcome the teams you didn't play. So for Wales, England and Scotland, that'll be Australia, New Zealand, Japan.
Okay.
For France, Ireland, Italy, it'll be Fiji, Argentina and South Africa.
I think it makes sense.
They will play those teams, so you'll play all 6 teams. So you play the same teams every year. And you will then have played everyone, free home, free away. And at the end of this tour, right, so you play all those games back to back, the environmental issue is much less. So, like, the longest journey here is Italy to Scotland. Yeah. Like, that's doable, that's fine.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
There are no fixtures for the Nations Cup yet, inevitably. As you can tell, it's not a surprise, is it? Like, they wait, tier 2 and women's stuff, they'll announce it like 3 days beforehand.
Yeah, yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's not affecting these teams.
We'll just sort it out on the day.
Yeah. So you will then get points. They'll be drawn into 2 separate league tables, a Northern League and a Southern League. Right.
So you essentially get the Six Nations again, but with Georgia and whoever in it.
Not Georgia.
Oh my God, no. Yeah. So it's just the Six Nations again.
6 Nations again. Just
oh
6
my
nations
God.
Again.
So and then the Rugby Championship plus Fiji and Japan.
But without the Six Nations doesn't count towards it. So it's only their results against the.
So you get the Six Nations like basically twice.
So you've got like the Six Nations,
different
right?
Teams
but you've also got then the Six Nations league table for just them.
Like a Six Nations conference,
playing.
Essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
you will
so
then play
stupid.
then a long finals weekend in London town in Twickenham. This is the first. The second one I believe is going to be in Qatar because great fun.
Yeah.
Though I think it's like Dubai and a few others are also in for it, but like you're looking at Twickenham and then Qatar because great. We love human rights.
Yeah.
And Friday night, right, double header on the Friday night. The 6th place Northern team will play the 6th place Southern team, right?
Okay.
So, Wales are playing Japan 3 weeks before this, right? Those will likely be, there's a very good chance those are the bottom two.
As things
both
go at the
divisions.
moment, you would imagine that'll be
At the moment, those are the 2 lowest ranked teams in either division,
Yeah.
right? So if those are the bottom 2, they've just played each other like 2 or 3 weeks earlier. They'll then play each other again in London.
Okay.
Who is travelling, right? We've just watched Wales-Japan this weekend. Would you travel to go and watch that game again in Twickenham on a Friday night?
Definitely not.
As a Wales fan who isn't that far away.
Yeah. Like if you're a Japanese fan, like who's going to do it when that's not guaranteed to be your fixture anyway?
Yeah, I mean, travelling away fans for Autumn Nation Series has always been
Sure.
rare,
But when you don't know that's going to be your fixture.
I mean, you know it's going to take place over that weekend.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So Friday night, 6th v 6th and 3rd v 3rd, you play your corresponding team from who finished in the same positions in the rest of the series.
Either way, I probably can't be asked with that as a Welsh fan.
Then Saturday, 5th v 5th and 2nd v 2nd. And then Sunday, 4th v 4th and then 1st v 1st as a grand final.
Okay.
And the winner is the winner of the Nation Series on the Sunday night.
And those are treated as knockout games where like they'd go to extra time if they were drawn, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Similar to that Autumn Nations Cup they did.
Yeah,
years
they went to
ago.
extra time between England
England,
and
France.
France.
Yeah. Okay.
So that will take place the 27th, 28th and 29th of November.
I mean, I love knockout rugby, but also it is quite forced.
Yeah. And also, like, I thought a few times during this autumn, like, how much I like there not being bonus points.
Yeah, I know
Like,
what you mean.
It'll mean that everything except the World Cup knockouts has bonus points involved now.
Yeah. And that is another part of this. Like, it's trying to make the entire calendar like the World Cup.
Yeah.
Whereas what makes the World Cup so special is it's different from everything else.
Yeah.
Whereas from now on, the thing that will be different about the World Cup is that the teams play against each other rather than they play internally with the teams who are deemed on the same level as them.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just feels like borderline classist in terms of rugby ranking instead.
I don't know who is interested and who's going to be like. Imagine if the Autumn Nation Series had a final at the end this year.
Yeah.
Would you care? Like,
no, it's just
because it'd just be a rematch between France and South Africa, right?
Yeah.
Like, regardless, these teams will have played each other that year.
Yeah.
So, would you be interested in a rematch between France and South Africa? Actually, I would, but only because it's a rematch.
Yeah.
I'm not more interested because it's
a final, or there's something on the line.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I just think that summer tours and autumn internationals are interesting enough as they are.
Yeah.
Like,
it's fixing a problem that wasn't there.
Yeah. I don't know. And maybe this is the consequence of like people who try and pretend rugby's not brilliant nowadays to look better. Because like, I don't know, but this autumn series, I've loved it so much. And it's been so competitive. And there's been so many brilliant games in it. And I don't know, we're just sacrificing that.
We are. It'll be played
nothing.
only in Lions years. There'll only be autumn internationals in Lions years now.
That is woke nonsense.
So we do have, right, like the week before this all takes place, I don't know, Italy are playing Fiji. Very good chance those are the number 5 teams, right? They're then playing a week later in a neutral venue. Like, who gives a shit about that?
Yeah.
Who's turning up for that? Like, people will turn up in Twickenham to watch the England game. People will turn up to watch the final, and a bunch of people will come in because it's probably they'll sell a corporate ticket. They'll be like, you know, all 6 games.
It's a shame because that'd be a banger of a game.
Like,
they're wasting it.
Yeah, and that weekend is gonna that'll be a good weekend to go to. 3 double headers, fine, great. It makes more sense than R360. Which is a similar setup of like back-to-back games over a weekend in one venue.
Yes,
because it's an international that's once a year.
The bar's on the floor.
Yeah, and you can sell that, but like I don't know. I think it's solving a problem that no one needed solving, and it is creating problems that we do not want to be created. But it is going to lead to more money coming in, and in some ways, right, rugby needs the money. Rugby needs
definitely
more money
true.
coming in.
That's
Each union
undeniable.
needs more money. Like virtually everyone is skint. Even those that are doing well are struggling a little bit.
Yeah.
But at what cost
are
we doing this?
Yeah. The other thing, and this is the thing that I'm most gutted about, we're no longer going to have the occasional obligatory like Argentina versus Bristol game happen anymore.
Yeah.
Because everyone's going to be busy playing for silverware. So more woke nonsense.
Absolutely woke nonsense. We only intend to do this for like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We've been going for a long time.
Yeah. There's a lot to unpack.
A lot to unpack. It's going to be the next bloody forever of rugby.
Yeah. Well,
This is going to age badly inevitably, and it'll be great. But like,
and there is that chance, and
it probably will be because the rugby will be good, right?
Yeah.
And you've got good teams playing each other.
I think it's really important we don't lose sight of that. That the rugby itself is going to be good, and we're going to enjoy that. But the most important thing, because this is of course put together by Deputy Lieutenant Sir William Blackledge Beaumont Knight Grand Cross of the most excellent order of the Great British Empire. So the most important thing is afterwards, as long as once they've played together, they shake hands and they make sure to practice the great values of this brilliant game.